everybody. How's it going? Another episode of Soccer Betting Genius here. We're going to be joined by a special guest for the second half hour here. Ballin Kaepernick, big MLS better here. You see my background's a little different. I'm over at my parents' house today. I had to go to, what's up, Raymond Reddington? Oh, man. Good name there. Good show, man. Don't tell me what happens. I'm only on like season 3 right now, so I stopped watching it. So let me be able to watch that for the season, the whole thing. So well, yeah. Listen, we got a lot of action today. We're going to talk a little bit about. And listen to me on 98.7 FM ESPN tonight, anywhere in the world on the TuneIn Radio app. Be on tonight at 12 o'clock on the show called The Fine Line. And yeah, I know I am far behind. I know it's like 9 or 10 seasons in. I didn't start watching it at the beginning, but I really like the show. He's a great character. And I know I like the woman on the show, but somebody already told me she died, so that kind of sucks. Anyway, yeah, I'll be on 98.7 tonight in New York, and pretty soon we're going to be, I know during football season we're on in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Albany, Hartford, Louisville, New Jersey, South Atlantic City. I think it's on Philadelphia, maybe 9 or 10 different cities. It's a really cool show. If you want to, we talked today about all baseball, a lot of Kentucky Derby, a lot of Stanley Cup action, stuff like that. So NBA playoffs. So it's pretty cool. Definitely something to watch. And then just want to tell you, make sure you're liking and subscribing and, going to the other shows here. Obviously I'm new to the network, but make sure you follow Midday Money, Sean Higgs, Allie Burns, Morning Wood, Just Parlays with Chris King, Back to the Window, Scott and Scott, 4 o'clock me, 5 o'clock Game Time Decisions with Nick, Tim, and Lenny. A lot of really good information, a lot of really good betting stuff, and a lot of different sports. So I already talked about that. We have 6 hours of 6 hours of content right now, and that number is probably going to go up in a little bit. So could be interesting. And before we get out of the way here, DraftKings promo for Max Wagers Networks. We have $5 to bet 200 in free bets. Make your first deposit bet $5 plus on any Major League Baseball money line and win 200 in free bets. You must use our promo code to get that, though. WAW video in our show box below. In some states, you must be 21 years old to play. Always bet responsibly. Bet with your head, not with your heart. Be a genius about it. Caesar Sportsbook promotion, $1,100 first bet insurance. Place a first-time wager in up to $1,100. Get it back in the form of a free bet. If you lose, you must use our promo code ATSWIN SCZR. Links are in the show box below. All right. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Going to have an interesting show today. I'm going to talk a lot of different things. But let me just pull this stream up here. And I said yesterday, if you have any games you're looking to pick for this weekend, big card tomorrow as always. Yep. If you have any games that you're looking to wager, you have any questions on, I'll do my best to answer them. When in the midweek, these pickings are slim. But, in the weekend, you really want to start targeting some games, maybe, instead of, you see, like and subscribe every day. You'll be able to watch all the shows on Max Wagers Network. You want to target a few games. I like it. I liken it to college basketball. When you have the Saturday slate and you have so many games, you can't pick 10 games, 15 games. If you're betting that many games, the odds are you're gonna lose some money. You want to target games. You want to target bet and go for the best plays. Raymond Reddington is on 3 plays tomorrow. Kempasa versus Istanbul over 2.5 goals, minus 118. Newcastle, Liverpool, both teams to score at minus 101. And Valencia Levante over 2.5 goals at minus 112. And we're going to talk about 2 of these leagues here in a second. The Premier League specifically. And then I like 1 or 2 games in the La Liga. All right. Here's our Premier League odds and lines for Saturday and Sunday for some of the games that I picked out. Now, I'm going to, obviously I didn't have all of the games here because I'm going to pull these other ones up as well. I just don't think at this point, I think we talked a little bit about this, there's some value in these games. Sometimes, there's not. And when you're, a team like, I think the game that we're looking at, I like the Newcastle Liverpool game is at 7:30 in the morning. I always like those 7:30 games. I always think they're pretty interesting. But, some of the 10 o'clock games, I listed Watford, Burnley here, and Wolves, Brighton, and Hove Albion. I don't even love that game, to be honest, but I do love one thing about it. Aston Villa, Norwich City. Aston Villa isn't any good. Stevie G is going to slip his way to, 15th place or something like this. But Aston Villa is minus 275 against Norwich City. Aston Villa is basically safe. I know if they win this, they're probably safe. Norwich is still fighting, but they're down basically. And then the other, Southampton and Crystal Palace. I just don't have a feel for that game, to be honest. I know Crystal Palace has been playing, well. Patrick Vieira is the coach. Southampton's all over the place. You never know where they're going to be, up, down, no matter what it is. So, I kind of, didn't look at those games. Sunday, I think, the 3 games all bring something to the table that maybe you can look at. But, Saturday, the slate is this: Newcastle United plus 700 versus Liverpool minus 250, draw plus 370, 7:30 a.m. That's on the USA game. Watford plus 165 versus Burnley plus 175. Relegation 6-pointer. This is it for Watford. Watford has to win. They're at home. They have to win. Burnley has to win. They got a chance to beat Watford here and be, 4-1-1 their last 5 games and unbeaten since, Ben Mee took over, done an unbelievable job. The coaching staff took over from Sean Dyson. If they can win this game, the decision to sack Sean Dyche was probably, it looks like it was the right one at this point because they might stay up. Wolves and Brighton is an interesting game. Both teams, maybe top 10. Wolves is still fighting for a European spot, but they didn't play. They lost to Burnley, which is Aston Villa has been horrible. Bill, Sevilla went to 0. So far, so good. See what the score is there. 1-0. That Strasbourg PSG game. PSG is like dead in the water. Mbappe scored. I mean, that's just, obviously they score every game. Some of those games. Schalke beat Sandhausen, so that was good. Werder Bremen lost, but there was a ton of goals in that game, so I think maybe we went over there. Some of these other games are a little bit crazy. So see what we got here. But Sevilla, there's some of those games, you're trying to find stuff and you're trying to find some value. I think, in these games you can start to find it. Listen, Raymond, I disagree with him. He's been there for 10 years, and I think you kind of let him get into that battle and you let him get out of it. However, I think it was maybe a little bit of a master stroke to maybe bring that, Ben Mee, who's like a player in, and it's worked. I was at the game when they played West Ham last, I guess it's 2 weeks ago now. I can't even believe I've been back from England for 2 weeks now. Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now. And Watford, Burnley played really well. They really deserved to win the game. West Ham scored late, last 10, 15 minutes to score. But Burnley's been really good since, really defensively sound, back to the way Burnley does. There's 1-0 games and they just beat you up. I used to hate. I've been to the Burnley Stadium one time. It has a really cool ground behind it. The cricket ground is right next to the stadium. So, obviously Manchester United fan. So when you go to the game, there's the 4,000, 5,000 people. Hit in the end, 2.5 goals in the parlay. I know, that's crazy. It's a pretty cool ground, and Burnley is one of these teams that really I think we need in the Premier League. It's just a different style. Everybody wants to. Everybody talks about City knocking the ball around and Liverpool and their crazy pressing and Chelsea the way they play. But, you need some teams in there to play a different way. Used to when you'd play Stoke and you'd have the long throw from Roy Delap and some of these plays. And these styles make games. And, sometimes it's tough to bet those games. And, but, sometimes it offers you a little bit of value. So, and then finally, the last game on Saturday is Leeds United against Manchester City. Does anybody know what the score was of the last time that Leeds United played Manchester City from December? It was ugly. It was 7-0 Manchester City. However, Leeds last year beat Manchester City in Manchester 2-1 and then drew with them in Leeds 1-1. So it's an interesting game. Leeds at plus 900 still probably needs to win one more game to survive. And, Manchester City, obviously, by the time they take the pitch, they'll know, that Liverpool-Newcastle United game is not going to be as easy as everybody thinks it is. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like Newcastle United, or maybe you like Newcastle and both double chance or something like that. Liverpool obviously is the better team. However, both teams to score. That's the problem, Raymond. City has to play on Tuesday, and that game is 4-3. They're in that, and Benzema's playing. We'll get to La Liga. Benzema is going to play he's going to play tomorrow. I thought maybe, Real Madrid is 15 points up with 5 matches to go. They win the title if they win. But we'll see what goes on. And then Sunday, I have Everton plus 380 versus Chelsea minus 136, draw plus 270, Tottenham minus 240 versus Leicester City plus 650, draw 380, and West Ham plus 350, Arsenal 136. The thing about all those games, well, the last two is there's teams playing in Europe. So we'll get to that page now. Premier League notes. Liverpool obviously has to keep winning, but also has to travel to Villarreal for Tuesday in the UEFA Champions League. Newcastle has not beaten Liverpool since 2015, right? They're 0-6-2. Liverpool won 3-1 in December, but this is a different Newcastle team right now. One of the best teams in the Premier League since Eddie Howe got put in charge. And obviously, they spent some money in the winter window because they're Newcastle and they're the richest team in the world. Bruno Guimaraes, first and foremost. But I think this Newcastle team is going to be I'm going to go out on – I don't even know if it's going out on a limb. I think they make Europe after next season. I think they finish top 7. They're going to spend – hopefully they take all of Manchester United's bums and go with that. But Watford-Burnley. Watford has lost 4 in a row and 6 of 7. Burnley has won 2 straight and unbeaten in 3 since the managerial change. 10 points from the last 15, 3-1-1. Watford is probably in a lot of trouble. I don't think they can get out of it. Obviously, they probably have to win all their games, and that might not even be enough. If they beat Burnley, though, they're in with a chance. So it's going to be interesting. Wolves-Brighton. Wolves won both in 2021, but the 4 games before that are draws. If you follow Brighton, they love a draw. A 1-1 draw is like almost cash money at this point if you're betting on Brighton. Both teams to score cash money. Manchester City leads. City won 7-0 the first game, like I said, but Leeds won. They took 4 points from 6 last year. City's 26-2-5 since December 8th. Only one loss in a league in that time. 25 wins, 5 draws, 3 losses all year in the season. Their only loss was to Tottenham back, I think, in March in the league. And then they lost to Liverpool in the FA Cup semifinal 3-2 in a crazy game. Chelsea played Thursday and the 1-1 draw against Manchester United. I think they played pretty well. They didn't score enough. Everton needs to win this game on Sunday, especially if Burnley wins on Saturday. Spurs are not playing well, but Leicester has to rest players. I mean, I understand if they don't, but they probably have to rest players here. They're going to Rome, 1-1. They have a chance to win a trophy. They're not doing anything in the league. They can't finish in the European places. They can't finish and get relegated. They're just going to finish 10th, 11th, 9th, whatever, something like that. West Ham just played a tough game on Thursday and has to face a fresh Arsenal team. West Ham is still playing for the top. See where they are in the table right now. West Ham is going to have some visitors. West Ham right now is in 7th with 52 points. They're 3 back of United, who's played 1 more game, so can jump up to 6th. Leeds did have some crazy injuries in that game against Manchester City. I agree, Jim Bob. Everton Chelsea should be very interesting. What's up, Lex? How you doing? I love Arsenal money line and Arsenal team total over 1.5. Raymond says, I think it's a tough spot for West Ham. They just lost. They played a tough game. They have to go to Germany and win now. I think it's a really tough spot with a really small squad against a really good Arsenal team that's rested. Arsenal team total over 1.5 and Arsenal money line is probably a pretty good play here. And we'll see what we have on the next page. I'm going to take a chance with Liverpool. Look, I don't love the Asian handicap -1 at -155. I know some people will bet that, so that's why I put it on here. I think if you're going to bet Liverpool to win this game on a handicap, I think you're better off just taking them at -1.5 at +115. I don't love laying -155. I understand why people do. If I did that, I would do it in a hand. If I think Liverpool is going to win, I might put it in a parlay like that. I'd probably put it down to set 0.75, or maybe just take Liverpool on the money line parlay with Manchester City or something like that. I put these up here: Liverpool clean sheet +110 or Liverpool win to nil +140. I don't know if Liverpool's going to win this game. I think they have to keep if Liverpool's going to be comfortable in this game, let me say that, I think they have to keep a clean sheet. I don't know if they're going to. I put it up there because there's some value in it, but it's not my favorite bet of that game. Liverpool halftime, full-time at +105. I might take a shot with that, to be honest. I think Liverpool, if they get out in front, will take the lead and into halftime, they're going to go on and win that game. I think that's definitely worth, a shot there. Arsenal like to bottle games in April and May. The only problem is Manchester United, West Ham, and Spurs. Look, right now it's Arsenal's to lose, but Arsenal has to play Tottenham, and I think that's the bottle fest game. I think that could be it's obviously going to be massive contest, but I think. In that game, maybe Arsenal has a little bit of an advantage. We'll see when we get to that, though. I took Burnley pick at -105. Look, if you want to take a shot on Burnley money line at +175 right here, I think you can take it. Burnley pick, it covers you. If it's a draw, you end up getting your money back. If you lose anyway. And if Burnley wins, you win your bet. So, it's not the same as a double chance, but it covers you in case of a loss there. So, I think that could be the way to go. I don't I just think Burnley's a better team at this point. I don't know if they're a better team overall in the season. They're better right now. Watford has been awful, and Burnley has been good. But the relegation 6-pointers, they're crazy. Just a one-off game. It's just Watford's at home. It could be crazy. I like to cover the bet with a pick there. Villa Norwich, I'd say I'd probably pass. Southampton Palace, I'd probably pass on that. If you can find some value on something, some of those bets maybe. Wolves Brighton, I said I'd probably pass. I said maybe I'd take a small play on the Wolves pick at minus 115. I think you have a chance. Raymond's talking about Liverpool to score in both halves at plus 130. I think, is potentially a pretty good bet. Liverpool, I don't know what midfield's going to play because they're up 2-0. So I think they're probably through. I don't know what midfield's going to play. I know they have some people to rotate there. I'm not sure what back four is going to play, but I know, Salah, just been named the player of the year in the PFA, the Writers Player of the Year. I think, with Salah, Mane, Jota, Diaz, Firmino. I don't even know if Firmino exists anymore. I haven't seen him in so long. You can find 2 or 3 players there to rotate, and you're going to be, Mane. Look, Salah's. This was a weird year. I mean, I read the stories about this PFA Player of the Year, and I think, it was tough to see who was going to get it. I understand why Salah gets it. I don't know who you would have given it to from City. I know they said De Bruyne, but I don't know, man. He's good, but I don't think he's like that level. And it's not Van Dijk. I don't want to hear that Van Dijk is the Player of the Year. It's ridiculous that a defender gets it unless the team keeps when Chelsea kept allowed 10 goals or 14 goals that one year. Yeah, okay. But this Liverpool team is about scoring 5 goals a game, so it's their offense. In the Manchester City game, I like City minus 1.5, minus 115. City has to win, obviously. Some of the goal scoring apps and some of the over totals are a little bit crazy in that game. So probably going to maybe just take City minus 1.5, minus 115. I might just take a shot on them minus 1 Asian handicap and put it in a parlay. I think you can do that as well. Chelsea money line minus 136 is a little high for me. I'm going to check the lineup first, though. Chelsea just played on Thursday, so maybe some changes. Everton obviously has to win the game, but they're not any good. This team, Everton, is a mess. They're not any good. And if Watford wins that game on Saturday, there's going to be all kinds of pressure on Everton because Everton's going to go into that game 5 points back of Burnley, right? And 5 back of Leeds, depending on what Leeds does. But I can't see Leeds beating. Newcastle haven't conceded over 1 goal at home since 19th December. They've been much better. I think this Liverpool team is a tough test for them. But, I could see maybe a 2-1 game, 3-1 game, or 3-0 since I played the win to nil. Or I didn't play it, but I kind of liked it. Spurs minus 120, 1.25 on the Asian handicap. Oh, Jim, look, man, Frank taking them down. That would be great. I don't know what he's ever done to get these jobs. Derby County made the playoffs, didn't come up. Chelsea he finished 4th with Chelsea and they had a transfer embargo, which was, whatever, but Chelsea had enough players to, they should have finished higher than that, I thought. Then he got sacked. And then he got this job. It was a bad spot for him. I thought he should have picked his job a little bit better now because if he gets relegated, he's got that on his CV, and I think that's a problem for him. Because I do think he does do some things well in the teams, but he's got to pick a better job next time. Spurs minus 1.25 Asian handicap minus 105. Spurs over 2.5 at plus 150. I don't love Spurs. This is more Leicester. They're a smaller squad. Who's going to play? They played on Thursday. Big, tough game with Roma. They got a huge game in Rome on Thursday to get to a European final for the first time. I just think they're going to rest some players. the game doesn't matter to them. It matters for Spurs. Spurs definitely need it. And once again, Spurs on 58 points, Arsenal on 60. So, Spurs can win early, put a little pressure on Arsenal. But, once again, I take Arsenal moneyline minus 130, both teams to score minus 120. I think West Ham is a pretty good team. I just don't think they have that kind of a squad. I would be interested to see. I think he has to put a decent squad out because he's still fighting for, European football. And, he's not guaranteed it right now. If Wolves win, they could pull even on points. He's not guaranteed. Yeah, pass on Spurs, Southampton, and Wolves. I don't love the Wolves game. They usually, Arsenal will go all in. I like this team. I think they're the favorite for the 4th spot right now. But once again, if West Ham plays, they get a draw. That game against Tottenham is going to be for all the marbles. All right. Next slide, English Championship. I put up Middlesbrough minus 122 versus Stoke City plus 320 draw plus 275 at 10 a.m. Middlesbrough is battling for the top playoff spot, and Stoke is out of it. I put it up at minus 122. I know some people will like this game. I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I looked at the numbers a little bit. I don't love it. It's not the best game ever. I think it's going to be a tough game. Stoke right now is on 61 points, so, they can't. The most they can get to is 67, and there's already a team with 72, so they're out of it. Middlesbrough's still in with a fighting chance. They have to win both games, though. Sheffield United is on 72 points. So they're up by 5 points, but they have a game in hand. So Middlesbrough has to win. No choice. If they win, they got the shot on the last day. If they don't, they're out. So, but I don't know how good they are. So, sometimes those the games that need to win, I think are important. So, maybe you could take them, but I don't love it. The other game, though, Nottingham Forest versus Swansea City. Forest has won 6 of 7, is unbeaten in the league since Boxing Day. How about that? Forest has been on fire. My man James Garner running the midfield, coming back to Manchester United next year. Their only loss in that time is 1-0 to Liverpool in the FA Cup. Swansea has won 4 straight score draws. Swansea has 4 straight score draws, and unbeaten since 3-12, 4 wins and 4 draws. I like Forest minus 1 on the Asian handicap at plus 100. Both teams, the score is minus 105 if you're going to take that thing there, and over 2.5 is minus 110. Now, maybe I'm thinking Forest 2-1, 3-1 win, taking a chance there. So we will get to this quickly because we have our guests coming on in about 2 minutes. Real Madrid minus 200 versus Espanyol plus 550. Madrid clinches the title with a point. Has City at home Wednesday in the Champions League. Madrid clean sheet here is plus 130. Madrid minus 1 on the Asian handicap, minus 125. I said to check the lineup because the draw will do for them, but I saw today that Benzema will play and so will Casemiro because he's coming back from injury. If Benzema's playing, I'm rolling with Madrid. He's the best player in the world right now. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or. I love him. He's so good. The other game is Atletico Bilbao, Atletico Madrid, plus 155. Atleti is 4 points clear of Betis for the final Champions League. Yeah, Casemiro's probably going to play. He might play center back. He's just trying to get him some time there, and they're going to play. Benzema's going to play. He's unbelievable. They just can't get injured. We need Benzema not to get injured for that game on Wednesday. Bilbao 7 back of Sociedad for the Europa League spot. I like Atletico Madrid, pick minus 125, take a little shot there, maybe on the money line. They haven't played great, but, they're this close to wrapping it up. So I'm just real quickly here, Porto minus 770. I like Porto. Porto can clinch if they win in Sporting drops points. I like Porto minus 2.25 Asian handicap. Vazilla's not very good. Very bad goal difference. Porto's good. They're going to win the league. Yeah, at Foxy, I don't love that game. It's a little bit tough to see which one's going to happen there. I like Rennes -1.5 at -112. Rennes batting Monaco for the final championship spot. They have a +39 goal difference. Saint Etienne is -30 goal difference, and they're in the relegation playoff spots. Rennes is going to score some goals here. Rennes team total over 2.5 goals is +115. Cadiz, man, I can't believe these games, man. Sevilla, none of these La Liga teams are doing anything right now. And then Ajax up 4 points with 4 games to play. JC, I started on Monday. This is the 5th episode. So, but I've been doing, I had the How to Bet podcast for a long time, and I covered Premier League and Champions League for the NJ.com, the Star Ledger. If you watch The Sopranos, my man Tony Soprano, the paper he picked up every day, that was the Star Ledger. Doing it for that and for a couple other things. But this is my first week doing it here, and we'll be on every week. And then I got Ajax -2.5, -105. Ajax -1 first half, -125, over 1.5 goals first half, -115. Zwo's been awful, -28 goal difference. Ajax has a +71 goal difference, which is absolutely ridiculous, and Ajax has won 13 straight. All right. We're going to add in our guest here, who's a big MLS soccer guy. My man, here he is, my man, Kaepernick. How you doing, man? How's it going?
It's going well. How you doing?
Good. Where are you at? Where are you in the?
I'm currently in Missouri right now.
Missouri. All right. Yeah, my man Ken Hubbard out there. When we went to the Final Four in San Antonio, I'm a North Carolina fan, so he's friends with Hansbrough's family, so he's from out there. So I go out and visit him every once in a while. But so how are you doing? How did you get into betting on soccer here?
Well, I've always been to a lot of the MLS games. KC, Sporting KC is a pretty popular team. It's even getting more popular now that Patrick Mahomes has put some stake in it.
Wow.
So they're selling more tickets. The arena is getting more nice, and fans are coming out. So I've only been betting MLS for the last 3 seasons, but it's been doing me very well in the betting angle.
Yeah, Raymond has made a point here. I don't think I ever bet MLS. I know a lot of people. Look, it's only been legal in America in certain states. New York's only been legal for 3 months, and some of these states it's only been legal for a year or something. Michigan, Arizona, it's all been legalized. So I think some of the other leagues get a lot of attention. Obviously, I'm a big Premier League fan, Champions League, it's on, but those games, the MLS, every game's on basically on TV. The games are different times now. So like when these other games are cleared out, there's a chance for you to kind of focus on that. I mean, is that kind of how you started looking at it and see, it's just, a different league. And it's also like, the teams are pretty even, so there's a pretty good value in the MLS, I think, as well, right?
Yeah, there's a much more value in the MLS than the other leagues. Because I started out only watching the EPL and Serie A because I'm a huge Inter Milan fan.
Okay.
And I'm also a huge Manchester City fan.
Oh, okay.
So I've only watched those, but after I got used to, I can name a lot of players from all these teams in both those leagues. So I decided to branch out, to go into the English Championship and go into MLS, a lot harder places to handicap because of the so even teams.
Yeah.
And that's where I started to, just give a little bit more of a challenge for myself because I thought I had EPL. I think I have EPL pretty much handled, knowing all the players and the coaches and the schemes and just the mentalities of the teams. MLS is a lot different. It's just the betting lines are way closer.
Yeah.
Way closer.
The teams are a lot more even, obviously, because of the salary cap and stuff like this. I mean, I know a lot of people are clamoring for that in some of these European leagues when, you got Bayern Munich winning 10 titles in a row, PSG winning their 8th and 9th 9 years. And, City and Liverpool dominating and stuff. When you start to look at these lines for Saturday, plus 130 at plus 250, plus 200, minus 113, plus 275, plus 160, plus 170, plus 119, plus 225. I mean, a lot of these games, first of all, there's 100 games, there's 14 games every week. And a lot of these teams, you get plus money value on some of them. When you start to look, at some of these, when you start to say, I don't know, on Wednesday or Thursday, maybe look ahead to some of these games. Like, what do you start to hone in on some of the ones that you want to try to find?
So a lot of the times, one thing MLS has taught me is to not shy away from big plus money. You really can't, because these teams, like I said, are really even. So I learned a lot from MLS in that sense alone. So when I look at these games, for example, Austin FC, they really do go on runs. Like, these teams really are more prone to going on runs than most other leagues. So I do look at, the last 5 games, the trends. The trends are very much applicable to these teams. Like Austin FC, they're plus 200.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost in like 7 straight games. Like they've drawn, but they haven't lost.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's amazing.
Why are they plus money?
Yeah, it's amazing you can get this, and let me see the team that not draw no bet. I don't love that draw no bet, but I know some people do. Double chance. Austin and draw is minus 160. You get 2 chances there.
Like, so for example, for this game, I'm not against going with Austin FC plus 200. I'm sure the line will probably drop before the game plays on Saturday. I think it'll go to about plus 170 before the game starts, because they're just on a tear right now. Like, Driussi is one of the best goal scorers in the league currently, and this team is way better than they were when they came into the league last year. It's very surprising to me, but whenever you look at these games, you have to really analyze home field advantage, because those kind of angles show what these coaches are thinking of. Because Houston Dynamo, they're not the best team. They're definitely not the worst team either. So their coach is probably looking at Austin FC's last 5 games, seeing they scored 3 goals in the last 3 straight games, and they're like, "Oh, these guys are high-powered offense. Yep. Let me try to limit their scoring chances. Let me try to keep defenders back in the field, in the back more often, and less pressing on the offense. So it could be a low-scoring game." I imagine this to be a low-scoring game, but I'm still going to side with Austin FC in the sense of they will score the first goal. They have scored the first goal in 3 of the last 5 games, and the 2 of the last 5 games were against top competition. So I think versus this Houston Dynamo team, you can get them to score first at plus 100. So it is not that bad of an idea. Them being such a high-power offense, they literally have scored the most goals in the league so far. They have 20 goals. They have 1 goal above LAFC, who was also pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't back off this Austin FC team at all. And it's just really when you're getting into the MLS to start, you definitely want to just go off trends to start until you start listening to the announcers and the analysts who are commenting the game. They also give you tidbits that you don't know and you can't look up. So it just takes trial and error for sure.
Tate the Great, thanks for checking in. JC Stone says, are there any obvious differences, between those leagues? I think the games are a lot closer. When you look at the JC, there's like a salary cap. So, these teams from like, maybe the top teams are pretty good, but like these teams from like 3 to 10 in the conference are like all the same. I mean, it's really tough, Kaepernick says maybe this team gets hot and they're on a little bit of a run to kind of back them. But when you see the odds for these games, I mean, you don't right now, Toronto FC is minus 113 against Cincinnati. Columbus Crew is minus 165 against DC United, who's terrible. New England Revolution minus 205 against Inter Miami. Orlando City minus 135. Basically, the other games, I mean, probably 8 or 9 of the 14 games this weekend are both teams are plus money in the draw. You have LAFC against Minnesota minus 225 and New York FC against San Jose. But, there's so much more value, I think, in betting these games. It's just like, looks like MLS just started. Yeah, they've only played. It starts in March and it goes until December. So basically, when these other leagues are starting to shut down, there's only a month left of the Premier League. And then all summer there's all these games, and there's no World Cup this summer. It's in the fall and the winter. So JC said, what about totals? Is there something you can kind of find from the totals in these games, or?
Yes, definitely. So you really want to keep track of clean sheets. Unlike most leagues, the clean sheets are less common in the MLS.
Okay.
People are scoring. Okay. There's only like 3 or 4 that have had more than 3 clean sheets. People are scoring. They want to see good games. It's America. We want to see in NFL, we want to see touchdowns. We want to see all these. We want to see scoring. We want fans in their seats. So scoring wise, yes, there is going to be a different fluctuation of scoring in these leagues than other leagues. Like in the EPL, a lot of teams do pride themselves on defense. There are very few teams do that in the MLS. A lot of teams are trying to score. They're pushing people forward. They're making sure that, they're getting enough chances per game. So, yes, scoring is definitely a difference. For example, I've already put in a bet on Sporting KC to draw with FC Dallas in the first half.
Okay.
KC's at home. They play very good defense at home. And FC Dallas is not the best scoring team currently. They are. I have them bottom. One of the bottom. I'm on. They have 10 goals in the season so far. Pretty decent. 12 goals so far. It's pretty decent, right? But KC has 3 clean sheets and has only allowed 14 goals so far this year. And at home, they've only allowed 6 goals of those 14 goals.
Okay.
So I definitely pride them on their defense, and I think that they can keep this game low scoring for the first half.
I think when you look at these, just to give you guys some background too, Atlanta United, Toronto, Montreal are both right now on 11 points, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in the Eastern Conference with 8 games played, right? Toronto's scored 15 and allowed 17 goals. They're 3-2-3. So they have a 500. They've allowed 17 goals in 8 games, right? Montreal is 3-2-3. Their goal difference is -3. They've allowed 17 goals in 3 games. And these are teams that are going to make the playoffs right now. Obviously, this isn't going to stand. You don't know who they played and all this stuff so far. I mean, that's just going to probably come down to the mean. But Inter Miami's allowed 16 goals in 10 games. So in the Western Conference, you got a team like Austin right now, 20 goals scored, 7 goals allowed, the 13 goal difference. That's why they're so high up in the standings. They've only lost 1 game. But teams like Real Salt Lake, a playoff team right now, 9 goals scored, 13 goals allowed. They have a winning record, not a winning, but they have 3 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses. They have more wins than losses, and they have a -4 goal difference. So these teams are allowing goals, 1 a game, 2 a game, 3 a game. And I just, when you see the MLS scores, and I do some stuff for the MLS Next Pro team, these games aren't. You see the scores coming in on weekends, and I'm like, man, 5-2, 6-1. Jim Bob, yeah, definitely. Tate the Great says he likes both teams to score. Normally between 130 and 160 in these MLS games. The MLS is definitely improving. They're getting these players from Central America. The Panama team is getting better. Costa Rica is getting better. They're getting some players from South America, some younger players to come in, and the talent level is rising, obviously in America as well. Do you think some of this stuff, I guess the U.S. Now, I don't know if you follow the U.S. national team, but obviously the league getting better is maybe a reason why U.S. is a little bit better lately. Do you see some of that as well?
Yeah. So there are a lot of MLS players that do play for other countries. I do keep track of that. I love international and competition, especially for your home country. It means a lot, especially when they're coming from other places to the MLS. So there's teams that have featured in the World Cup before, that have had players from the MLS. That these guys, these names definitely, need to be remembered when it comes to betting in them in their club teams, specifically. For example, Diego Chara. So they had just got done with the AFCON finals, which is the African Cup League, for their, just to try to make the World Cup. And it didn't really go well for his team. I think it's Senegal. It didn't really go very well. But these names are people that play for their national teams. You got to keep track of those because they go to their club team. They ball out, because it's lesser competition to them, playing for these better and, more challenging circuits like the AFCON and, the actual World Cup. So I have stakes right now in the World Cup. I'm looking at France to win it again. Honestly, it's just really ridiculous.
I love France. I already have them. I love it. I think they're the best team in the world. And
the team's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Like, how do you have all these players? You got Griezmann, you got Mbappe, it's just ridiculous. Like, how do you have elite defenders too? Like, I can't believe it. Like, they can't lose again.
They got guys coming through that are young. That's the thing. And JC's asking about weak goalkeeping. The reason I'm not sure if it's the weak goalkeeping. The only thing is, like, the Premier League has 20 teams, and the Bundesliga has 18 teams. The Championship has 24. There's just 29 teams, I think, right now in the MLS, and they're maybe going to expand out to like 30, 32 teams. So, there's not. They're getting better at finding players, but goal scorers, I think, are easier to find. Obviously, they come in. Chicharito come in from Europe, and some of these goal scorers will come over here, and there's a focus on goal scoring, and maybe not as much on the defenders. I think those elite defenders are probably playing in, a little bit. If you're over here playing and you're an elite defender, I think you're going to find your way to another league in Europe because it's just defending is such a big deal. So I don't know. Raymond says Argentina. No, come on, man. They ain't winning.
And see, Sean, and that's why I agree with you. Like, this is how MLS has started to get some buzz, is because players like Ibrahimovic came over to play for LA Galaxy for like a year and a half. And we got for Miami. At Miami, they got
Higuain. Yeah, Chicharito comes over is a huge name.
Yeah, they're older. Yeah, they're older. But this is how it gets the name going. Like, you get the stars, old stars, coming to the MLS to still play and compete.
That's right. And then
eventually the younger players to get some young players coming up here.
They're playing some of the younger. They're bringing some of the younger, hungrier players from Panama, and that's, you see why some of the Central American leagues are just okay. But the MLS is a huge step up. I think you see now MLS now and Liga MX. Liga MX was dominating CONCACAF for so long, and they still do. But that MLS has Sounders in the final, and they had 2 teams in the semifinal, 3 teams in the quarterfinals. So they started to get better at that, and it's not a given that the Mexican teams are going to win. So the league definitely come up. Insigne, yeah, he is here. He's coming here.
Yeah, it's a big credit. It's a big credit too to players like Pulisic and Gio Reyna. Like they're over here in other countries, harder circuits, but they're from America.
Yep.
So they're actually giving us some shine. They're actually showing that we have talent over here too. So that's also helping the MLS grow altogether.
Well, do you look at all at the, JC's asking you, do you look at all at Liga MX, to the Mexican League games on Saturday nights at night? I was telling the other day about, I'm in Philly, so we go to, the El Chingaro. It's got unbelievable food. And you go and you sit in there, and it's like a grocery store. In the back, it's got food, but they have the 2 TVs on every Saturday night. Like it's jammed, people watching the games. Do you look at those games? I know it's like I think it's even tougher than the MLS to handicap, because these teams, same thing. It's pretty tough, but you can find some value.
Yes, the odds are even more closer in the League MX. I do watch them, but I have not handicapped or put money on them. But they are very entertaining games, very close. Usually there are a lot of last minute goals for sure.
Scoring, a lot of lower scoring game. And JC, there's a lot. If you look, you see a lot of 1-0 games, and there's some pretty good teams. Like Pumas right now is plus 180 against Pachuca on Sunday. They're in the final of this CONCACAF Champions League next week. I think I didn't see what the final score was the other night. I know I saw they took a penalty and took the lead.
It really is important that if you're just trying to get into MLS, just to start into it, you're not knowing anything but this team's better than this team, is to watch the trends. Look at the trends, because the season's early. It's an early season. It's easier to catch the trends now than it is to do that later on in the season.
Seattle scored in the 99th minute of stoppage time in the second half. 90 plus 9, they scored a penalty. So that's 2-2.
Ridiculous.
And that there's no team from MLS has ever won the CONCACAF Champions League and played in the. If you win the CONCACAF Champions League, you go to the Club World Cup, and right now there's a chance they would play either City or Real Madrid or Liverpool. I don't know who's going to win that at that point, but top teams. Yeah, look, Foxy talks about that. Foxy's our South American guy, expert. Pumas is 12th currently. They're in the final of the Champions League over here, and the top teams lose to the bottom teams. It's tough. When I bet, I'm always looking for that value where it's like the top team's playing the bottom team. Maybe it's on the road, and you're saying, you get a little bit extra value, but it's tough to, it's in that league. It's tough because it's like the MLS. The teams are really competitive from top to bottom. And the thing is with the Liga MX too is, and they don't do this. They do this a lot in the leagues here, but not, in Europe, is they have a Clausura and an Apertura. They have a spring league and a fall league. And it's 2 separate leagues, basically 19 games and 19 games. And if you win the first, you win the second, you're in the playoffs, and there's a whole thing that goes on to find out the champion. But, if they had Premier League had that right now, Newcastle might be, third right now. I mean, they're playing so well, so it's just different. That's the thing. So it's harder, I think, in that league to find out who's playing well, because you just have these streaks and you just don't know who's playing well. So,
exactly. And goal scoring, I can't blame it on the goalkeepers just being poor, but I will say that the high press that's in the MLS, which is different than other leagues, has made it to where the goalkeeper has to do a lot more, which is why there's a lot more goals. The goalkeeper, the front 5 in the goal box, they aren't really worried about defending the goal. They really aren't. They're worried about pressing forward and getting on the fast break. In other leagues, it's less likely that, for Chelsea, N'Golo Kante is going to be running up midfield whenever they're pressing up, forward. So it's a less likely that they're going to leave their goalkeeper in trouble in other leagues than the MLS. It's really weird. I'm not sure why that is, but
yeah. So Raymond Reddington's asks if there's any both teams to score over 2.5 do you like, and then which is there any specific games you're targeting tomorrow in the MLS?
yes, I have both teams to score. It's minus 160 right now with Montreal and Atlanta United. Both teams.
Montreal has they've given up 17 goals and scored 14 goals and 8, and then Atlanta has scored 10 and given up 11. So both teams give up at least a goal a game and score at least a goal a game. So
yeah, and then I have a closer odds over under. I have under in the Orlando and Charlotte game. I think it'll be a lot more closer game. Orlando FC, they have 5 clean sheets in 8 games.
And Charlotte, obviously, is a new team.
Pretty good.
So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I like some of those. The thing with for me, for MLS is, I get up so early on Saturday mornings and watch the Premier League and do this stuff. And, we're trying to figure out when we're going to do the show on Saturdays now. But I think, you come back on Saturday afternoon, the first game's at 1:30, and then there's a couple of 3:30 games. But, there's a lot of night games here. Tomorrow night, there's Columbus and DC 7:30, New England 7:30, Orlando City 7:30, Chicago 8 o'clock, Sporting Kansas City against Dallas, your team 8:30, Colorado Rapids 9 o'clock. So there's a lot of those later games, so you can kind of regroup or whatever, attack to get those early games, win up a little money, and then all of a sudden you got these games to play, and you could have a monster day. So I always think
which is also different than other leagues because EPL, they're all of them are like 9 a.m., which because our time we're in America, so they have a lot of early games and a lot of them go on at the same time. So it's really hard to recuperate money if you lose money off these games.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I say it's a lot like college basketball because, you got there's the early games, the midday games, the late day games, and you can, you don't have to target, you target one game in the early game and say this is my game for the day, and you say, all right, I like this game. So it's definitely something that's good. So
exactly. I have one play I can give out that I'm pretty confident in. I'm most confident in is New York City. They're probably going to destroy the Earthquakes tomorrow.
Yeah, minus 260.
But I have them minus 1.75.
Yeah, on the Asian handicap, plus 140, and the Asian handicap minus 1.75. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're going to take them to the woodshed. It's going to just probably beat the crap out of them because San Jose has yet to keep a clean sheet. And I have no faith in them going to New York to beat them. I have no faith in them going to New York to beat them.
Yeah, it's a long travel. You see it in football. In England, that train, they take the train to these games. Here, it's an 8-hour flight, and it's 3 time zones. It's tough. I think it's like the NFL. When these teams come east and have to play, you don't usually see those teams winning. How you doing? Brandon's checking in. Just once again, I guess we're gonna have you. I'd love to have you on every Friday to talk about MLS for a half hour, and maybe
awesome,
come on for an hour if you want, and we'll talk about all the games.
That'd be awesome. So thank you. Yeah,
definitely, and hopefully give these people some stuff. And just want to say, we're going to run these banners again. These promos. What books do you use out there in Missouri?
I use DraftKings. I have a VPN, so I can use DraftKings still. DraftKings Sportsbook is my favorite one I use.
Good. We got DraftKings promo here. You got bet $5 to win 200 in free bets when you make your first deposit. On any Major League Baseball money line. We got to get them to get some soccer stuff there. Use the promo code right here. Wall video, show box below. Caesars, $1,100 in first bet insurance. Place a first-time wager up to $1,100. Get it back in the form of a free bet if you lose. Use that code. And remember, we have all these hours of great info. Did you bet anything else? You big soccer? Mostly soccer.
Yeah,
I saw your Twitter page. I know you bet. You're betting.
Yeah, I bet everything. Right now, I'm doing really well in the NBA playoffs right now. We just hit a plus 550 parlay last night. Pretty good. I also hit my baseball parlay too. I give it out every day. Free picks.
On your Twitter, right? Is that the Twitter right here? The at Kaepernick.
It's at B Kaepernick is the Twitter.
Okay, so it's Twitter at B Kaepernick. If you're looking for any picks right there, go on there and follow him. And we'll see. I don't know, Raymond. 1 hour went by fast. That's right. Foxy says thanks for coming on, and thanks a lot for coming on. And
thank you for having me, Sean. Really, thank you for having me.
Definitely, and we'll see you. He's going to be here next week at the same time, and we'll be back Monday, and we'll go over the carnage from the weekend. Hopefully, it's going to be a good weekend. But there's always some twists and turns in these races, so we'll see how that goes. But so thank you, Kaepernick, and thank you for me, and we'll see you on Monday.
See y'all.